All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Out here preaching this gospel in sincerity and truth throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom. We're just going to jump right into this article. You know what I'm saying? It says 13 nations signed WEF treaty to destroy and rebuild major cities before 2030. Like we always say, man, this is that 2030 agenda, and I'm always talking about the 2030 agenda. Because this is one of their major plans that they have. Is to basically destroy this current system and have everything. Basically have their new plans, rebuilt and set up by the year 2030. And this plan basically is like a 10-year plan. It basically started around the year 2020. You know what I'm saying? When the whole C-19 demic was on the scene. That was basically the start of their plan. But now we are in the year 2025, and there's only 5 years left for them to basically complete this agenda that they have, which they want to destroy these major cities and rebuild them up and create 15-minute cities by the year 2030. This is what they're saying. This is their plan. You know what I'm saying? So if we are in the year 2025, that means that this devil, he only has 5 years to complete this plan. Destroying these major cities and rebuilding them into 15-minute cities in a 5-year span. So these devils gonna have to start moving and start doing some some real catastrophic events. They're gonna have to bring holy hell on America in order to get this agenda that they want established by this current goal that they have set for themselves, 2030. So let's just touch on this article a little bit, and see what they're talking about. But it says 13 nations have signed a WEF treaty agreeing to dismantle and rebuild major cities under the guise of their own so-called Agenda 2030. And WEF, that stands for World Economic Forum, which is basically I think headed by Klaus Schwab. If you know that guy, they might this is him right here. This is the guy, Klaus Schwab, right here. He's basically the head, chairman or whatever, the leader of this group, the World Economic Forum, where it's all these billionaires, trillionaires that get together, these elites, they get together and discuss how they want to structure this current world, in the future. How they want to destroy this current system and rebuild it into a way that they want, for the future, which is going to be a digital slave system, which they're going to have the world in, while they basically sit at the top controlling and monitoring everyone that's on the earth. They basically want to play God on the earth. So this is their plans, and they want this all over the world. But like I said, let's dive into this article real quick. It says, using climate change as the ultimate cover, because they do everything in the name of climate change. They do everything in the name of saving the earth or saving the planet. This is their excuse for doing the things that they're doing, is in the name of saving the planet, when really they have an alternate agenda. But using climate change as the ultimate cover, the WEF has set the stage for a devastating attack on everyday people. Their end game, to reshape urban landscape into 15-minute cities. And if you don't know what 15-minute cities is, you can do a brief research of it and look it up. And it's not that, it's pretty simple. It's a pretty simple thing that they want to do. Don't take too much understanding of what they're trying to do. It's basically like a prison system. You can walk freely around, You know, it ain't gonna be no cars, but you can walk freely around and go to, you know, different restaurants and things like that. But they have you basically confined in a certain area, you know, that you really can't, you know, move out of unless you have, you know, access or permission to do certain things. They're basically, you're basically a slave that can roam around, you know, in a certain area. You know, that's basically how they got it set up. You know what I'm saying? But it says, yeah, I think he kind of explains it here. He says their end game to reshape urban landscapes into 15-minute cities, vast open-air prisons where freedom is a relic of the past and escape is no longer an option. And it says this isn't a distant dystopian fantasy. It's happening now. And the grisly details of their long planned operation is coming to light. And it says, let's skip down a little bit. And it says the climate change emergency will allow us to rebuild society. So they're doing everything in the name of climate change and saving the planet. But it says picture this: 13 of the world's most populous nations signing a shadowy WEF treaty that paves the way for tearing down major cities, literally leveling them to the ground, all in the name of Agenda 2030. Their goal to eliminate private car use, redesign neighborhoods into so-called 15-minute cities, and transform our urban spaces into what critics are calling open-air prisons. What the fuck is this? Yeah, that's basically what they want, man. They want you poor, you know, starving your ass to death. You know what I'm saying? And they want you locked into a virtual reality while they take over the real world. You know, this is why they pushing all this digital holographic shit onto the people. Because people, they're so fed up and depressed with the real world that they find some type of happiness in these virtual reality, you know, worlds that they create. You know, these VR headsets and so on and so forth, video games and all of that. People find these things as an escape from the real world because the real world is depressing. You know, and I guess that's what they're trying to depict right here in this picture. You know, but it says, but here's the kicker. They plan to do it by faking natural disasters and T attacks, manufacturing chaos to devastate entire cities while blaming it all on climate change. You know, just the same way that they're doing with those fires over there in Los Angeles. You know, they use direct energy weapons, which are lasers, to cause these different fires, you know, to basically burn the entire place down because they have a plan on rebuilding that into a 15-minute city. You know, and I think the governor even came out and said something about it. You know, that he basically said that we're going to rebuild better than, you know, we had it at first, or something of that, you know, magnitude. He said something like that. So they're not even worried about the fires that's going on right now because he's already been let in on the ideas that they have for rebuilding their place into a 15-minute city. You know what I'm saying? So he's on board with it. You know, it's only you people that's out here working 9-to-5s and, you know, putting all your energy into these jobs and shit like that don't know what's going on, because they keeping you occupied with these jobs and paying bills and struggling while they are behind the scenes making moves on destroying this place and rebuilding it into a prison. You know? So let's see where I left off. Yeah, and it says faking natural disasters because, yeah, they do that too. You know, create like they did over there in was it North Carolina? You know, where they a lot of those people died and they had all them storms. You know, even over there in Tampa, Florida, where they created, you know, with the HARP weather weapon, you know, they could manipulate the weather and intensify these hurricanes and so on and so forth to wreak havoc on these cities. That way they can rebuild them, you know. But they'll use natural disasters as a way to, you know, keep people off their trail of what they're trying to do. you know, and they blame it all on climate change and natural disasters. But it says it's a masterstroke of deception, traumatizing the population into submission and using the ashes of our broken cities to rebuild their utopian smart cities. If you think this sounds far-fetched, stay tuned. And it says, let me skip down a bit. And it says, after calling us conspiracy theorists for warning about 15-minute cities, the mainstream media is now dropping the pretense, openly reporting plans for these dystopian zones where people are where people are confined to their districts, unable to leave without permission. Open prisons. You see how when you're in a prison, when you're in an actual prison, you know, you got a cell, and then you have the yard where they let you out of your cell and they basically let you go out and roam around. You know, that yard is going to be how these 15-minute cities are. But it says just wait, CBDCs and social credit systems are next on the mainstream media checklist. And it says this is more than just a theory, it's a blueprint for control. According to Klaus Schwab, by 2030, Los Angeles will be completely free of private cars. The city is set to be radically transformed, with wilderness areas replacing roads where humans once drove, and populations confined to so-called open-air prisons with no way out. You see that? Ultimately, it's going to come down to the MOTB, the mark of the beast, which is going to be an RFID chip that you're going to have to use, that they're going to use to trace, track, and monitor you. You know, you're going to use that to buy and purchase items and so on and so forth, you know. But it says the global elite earmarked Los Angeles as the world's first smart city, and plans have been in the works for years to achieve the rapid transformation to Klaus Schwab's 2030 vision in time for Olympic Games in 2028, when the city will be presented to the world as a model for the future of humanity. You see, the residents of specific Palisades sensed it. Something is undeniably wrong. Anyone paying attention with eyes wide open knows that. Actor Eddie Griffin says the elite have been preparing for the Los Angeles Pacific Palisades fire for 3 to 6 months before the fire hit. Somebody knew it was coming, and they wanted to make sure the neighborhood was completely destroyed. And this is why all those insurance companies, you know, basically opted out of covering these people for fire insurance, because they was well aware that this fire was going to come, you know, and they didn't want to go bankrupt, you know, after these things happen, you know, by having these people still have fire insurance while these things were still taking place. So they got a heads up that these fires was coming. This is why they basically canceled everyone's fire insurance. I think it was like 74,000 or something like that. But it says 13 countries, including the US, Australia, Brazil, Germany, Spain, and Uruguay have agreed to engineer a controlled demolition of their major population centers, one after the other, while simultaneously waging war on the agriculture industry worldwide to usher in starvation and famine for humanity. You see, they don't even want you people to eat, man, because that's another form of control that they can have over you. That's one of the major forms of control. They can take away, you know, your food, your water, the way that you know, sustain yourself, you know, and live, and you have to rely on them for that. That's a major form of control that they can have over you. You see? But it says part of the global methane pledge, by the way, involves transitioning the world from eating real foods like beef and chicken to instead consuming insects, which are toxic and non-nutritious to humans. And some insects you can eat, but they want to take all your food away from you. You know, I think you can eat like locusts, you know, because I think there's a scripture that talks about, I think it was John the Baptist. He was basically eating locusts and honey. He was surviving off eating locusts and honey, you know, if I'm not mistaken, if that's the right person that I'm thinking of. But you know, you can eat locusts, but they want to take all your food away from you. Yeah, they want you to eat beef, chicken, nothing. They just want you to eat purely insects and not just locusts. They want you eating maggots and all kind of shit, you know. That's this devil, man. It's Esau Edom, the so-called white man. You see why this man needs to be taken out of power. And you see why he's going to go through the harshest slavery known to man in the kingdom of heaven. Once we get this man in the kingdom of heaven, in these chains, he's going to have the harshest captivity known in existence. You know, but they want to take all your, beef, chicken, and all your foods away and give you insects. As you can see clearly with the rampant inflation in the recent years, which appears to be hyperinflation in slow motion, we are reaching a point where meat and quality food will become unaffordable for the average person. Many will have no choice but to eat insects, assuming they want to continue living in such a corrupted world. You see? And it says, let's see if I even want to read this, because it might go into something different. Yep, and that's what I brought up earlier, North Carolina. All right, well, let's just read it real quick. And it says, why does the government prioritize globalist interests over its own people? The 1871 Constitution may hold the answer, a truth recently exposed in shocking Senate hearing. What do recent natural disaster zones in the U.S. have in common? Take Maui. It was earmarked for 15-minute cities and is now being rebuilt in line with the WEF's Agenda 2030. And we know what happened in Maui over there in Hawaii, where they got the same treatment that Los Angeles is getting now. They hit that place with lasers and burned it down, and now they're rebuilding it. And that's the same thing they're doing with Los Angeles now. They hit that place with direct energy weapons, laser beams, and burned it all down, and blamed it on, and now they're blaming it on immigrants, blaming it on actual people, saying that the actual people may be the reason why these fires were set, but really it's Esau Edom, the so-called white man. But they're blaming it on immigrants, saying that immigrants set the fires, which one person can't burn down a whole fucking city. You see, but it says North Carolina, home to coveted mineral deposits conveniently tied to BlackRock's interests. So North Carolina, they hit that place with floods, through those HARP weapons, those weather manipulation weapons, and now thousands of people, hundreds of people died over there, and now they got that place marked off, and now they're mining that place for it says coveted mineral deposits, which I forgot what minerals what they was looking at over there, but they want to mine, they want to use that place and get certain resources out of that area, And now it says in Los Angeles, long touted as the elite's first global smart city with plans to showcase its 15-minute city design to the world during the 2028 Olympics. So they want to have it up, and they want Los Angeles destroyed and rebuilt by the time the Olympics come, so they can showcase to the world that this is the model they want, for everywhere, And they're going to use things from China as well, like the social credit score and all of that, and intertwine it with these 15-minute cities. But it says, for those who don't think the government would ever conspire against its own people, it's worth brushing up on your history. In 1873, the government killed millions of buffalo to starve the Native Americans so they wouldn't submit so they would submit to the government and become compliant, independent. So some things don't change. And this fucking devil, man, Esau, in this article it says in 1873 the government killed millions of buffalo to starve the Native Americans. No, don't say exactly who it was that did this. It was Esau Edom, the so-called white man, the devil. Don't try to cover up who it was by saying the government. So let's say this, let's say it right. In 1873, Esau Edom, the so-called white man, killed millions of buffaloes to starve the Native Americans. That's how it's supposed to be said. And look at all this. And I think these are the skulls. These are the skulls of these buffalo. just went around, this devil Esau just went around killing buffalo to starve out the Native Americans. He went around just killing animals, man. Not using them for meat or anything. Just went around killing them. Just to starve out another nation just so they can take over. You see that? That's a devil, man. That's this fucking devil just going around just killing them. And it says, remember when the World Economic Forum aligned politicians all over the world were parroting the same line, build back better. You know, even Biden said that. That was his slogan for a while, that was build back better. And it says, they meant to say, now we know that build back better literally means destroying things first and then rebuilding it according to the New World Order plans. Why does the government prioritize globalism over its own people? And how does these sellout globalists get away with it? Because they the ones that own everything. You know? These are the elites, man. They don't get in trouble for the things that they do because they control everything. You know, all the media, all the social media, even your gas, they own every fucking thing. This is why they can get away with the things that they're doing, because they own every damn thing. You see? And I think that's it on this article. You know, that might be it. Yep. Not too much more on it. You know, so let's go into this real quick. But this is 2nd Ezra 15 and 11. And it says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Because ultimately this is the Heavenly Father that's doing this. He's using Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, to cause and wreak havoc on America as well as other places around the world, to basically wreak havoc on the earth, you know. But mainly over here in Great Babylon, America, he's put this idea, this agenda in this man's scope to try to accomplish. Because the Lord, he's really putting the spirit on this man to destroy his own self and destroy his own kingdom, you know, and take his own self out. You know what I'm saying? He's putting the ideas in this man's head to try to fulfill this 2030 agenda, you know. And he's only going to go so far with it, because the Heavenly Father, he's going to intervene, and he's going to bring great judgment on this place and on this man. And that great judgment is going to come during a time where he tries to basically mandate the RFID chip, the mark of the beast. You know, once everyone is basically mandated to start taking that, you know, and they force everybody to start taking that the RFID chip, that's when the Heavenly Father is going to start to intervene and take this man out completely, you know. But right now, the Heavenly Father, he's using this man to basically bring plagues upon the earth. You know what I'm saying? Which ultimately the Heavenly Father is behind it. So all different types of plagues is going to start hitting this place. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of plagues going to hit this place, because you even got, you know, it's major suffering is coming, because you even got you know, it says Trump's Project 2025 will tear down our country's healthcare system, because that's another plague that's going to cause a lot of suffering. People not going to be able to, you know, be eligible for insurance. And I think it's like 40, they taking away benefits, you know, SNAP benefits, like food stamps and all of that. That's another plague that's going to be hitting, you know. But this is basically going into this article right here. This is basically going into people's SNAP benefits and Medicare, you know, is being threatened. You know, the Trump agenda would also repeal part of the Inflation Reduction Act that allows the government to negotiate directly with pharmaceutical companies to lower the cost of prescription drugs and improve access to life-saving medication for seniors receiving Medicare. The price of insulin, which has decreased for everyone after it was capped at $35 per month for Medicare recipients, could very well surge again. So you got people that's diabetic. You know, this is gonna, these things that they're doing, man, it's gonna be complete hell and suffering for these people. not only will you not be able to get prescription drugs like you used to, your Medicare, because when you got Medicare, I think you got like a copay where you pay like a certain amount. You pay a certain amount out of your own pocket to basically get in. And Medicare basically covers the majority of what these prescriptions would cost. But if you need medicine, once they cut you off or whatever, if you need medicine and prescription, you're basically gonna have to pay the full amount. Which these medications, they be like, man, they be high as hell. They be like $400, $500. But with a copay, only thing you gotta pay is like $30-$40 to get it. To get a prescription, a full bottle prescription that'll last you for months. But without that copay, without that insurance, that Medicare, every prescription that you get, you basically have to pay, between $400 and $500 for that same bottle prescription, that same amount. Which is that's gonna cause a lot of, you basically paying half of your rent for a prescription that you need. And like I said, insulin, you got people that's diabetic, that's all around the world, that ain't gonna be able to afford life-saving medicine like insulin. So it's that's these plagues, man, that we're talking about a lot. A lot of suffering is about to get ready to take place. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically what this goes into. That your prescription drugs and your medications and your insurance. Hey, Trump is finna get ready to cut all that shit out. He finna get ready to cut all of it out. And this is Psalm 91:7, and it says, 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. So we're gonna see a lot of people falling. We're gonna see a lot of people, man, just basically, suffering. We're gonna see 1,000 here, 1,000 there. We're gonna see 100 there, 100 there, of people just suffering. A lot of death, a lot of struggles is about to get ready to take place. A lot of people finna start losing their fucking mind. Because a lot of people, if you look up the amount of people that rely on food stamps and rely on prescription drugs and shit like that, it's in the millions of people. 30 to 40 millions of people in the US that rely on these things constantly. And if you just drastically cut all of these people off from that, that's a lot of, man, that's a lot of chaos right there. A lot of death too. Because like I said, insulin, people can't afford that, to pay the full amount of these certain things that they need. Got people on schizophrenia medicine and all different types of shit like that. They gonna be out here on some Joker shit, man. Like on some Batman and some Joker type shit. People out here going crazy. They don't get that schizophrenia medicine. So hey, this shit, you gonna see some real fucking serial killers out here in a minute. You know what I'm saying? Get these people from not taking their drugs. People with multi-personality disorders that ain't got their prescription. They gonna make some crazy ass serial killers out here, man. We finna see some serial killers. We finna see some murders. We finna see, all kind of shit, man. People taking suicides, murder-suicides, taking their whole family out, then taking themselves out. This is what's coming. So let's go into one more thing real quick. And this says food pantries are bracing for more demand if the Trump administration cuts food aid. So if they cut SNAP, they cut all this food, if they cut all these people, let me see where I'm trying to go with this. So yeah, if they cut these people's SNAP benefits, they cut their food aid off, hey, it's over with. No more food stamps, no more none of that shit. But it says, on a recent frigid Friday, Ted Wiles was keeping his humor as he stood tall and bundled against a stiff breeze in a growing line outside the No Limits food pantry. They say no limits now. They gonna have limits in a minute. I'm talking about No Limits food pantry. They gonna have limits in a minute. But it says, he says, I'm losing feeling out of my toes. Wiles said, laughing. He'd been out here 5 hours and the pantry wouldn't open for a couple hours more. So he was standing in line freezing to death trying to get this food for when they open. One pantry volunteer said it's always like this. When she arrives to meet the food truck at 7:30 in the morning, people are already lined up waiting, even though the doors won't open until late afternoon or evening. That lets you know people would rather stand in line freezing to get this food, you know, because hey, times is finna get a lot harder. And it says the line reflects a trend seen around the country as food banks say they're busier than ever. Now this pantry and others are bracing for even more demand. That's because the first Trump administration tried to scale back federal food aid, and allies aim to try again as they look to slash government spending. You see, so they finna get ready to get done with this food stamp shit, man. So Jake, hey, we don't know what to tell you, Jakes out there, man. You know, all thing we can tell you is listen to the videos, but y'all don't want to do that. Wiles isn't worried about that. He does get food stamps, but said it's only $40 a month, which he calls a slap in the face that doesn't buy much these days. He lives alone in subsidized housing, and gets by on Social Security, which they're gonna get done. They're gonna take that away too. Social Security, all that shit gonna go away. Plus a small pension from the decade he worked at a union job at a nearby baked goods distribution plant. He said he started coming to this pantry just outside Washington, D.C. a few years ago when food prices skyrocketed. And he said, if it wasn't for this particular place, you know, I'd probably have to dig a little deeper. He said, this has saved me immensely. You see? And it says farther back in line, Danya Godbolt said it's only her second time here, short on food stamps, so I need to put the food in my house, she said. So when they start taking these lines is finna get a lot longer, man. Like I said, they call that place No Limit Pantry, but hey, they finna change that name in a minute. They gonna have limits on how much food you can get in a minute. But it says several hundred dollars a month in federal food aid only lasts 2.5 weeks for her and her husband. He has his leg amputated from diabetes and can no longer work. She quit working to care for him. Without the help, we wouldn't have any food other than, you know, family members assisting or making meals, she said. So it just goes to show you people out here struggling, man. You know, like many pantries, No Limit saw the numbers of people it served shoot up during the demic. Those who came used to be mostly African American, but there's been a growing share of recent migrants from Latin America, Afghanistan, and other places. You see? And you got a few Edomites peppered in there too as well. But it says food no, I might just cut it off right there. But I mean, you get the gist of the video, man. It's, you know, they getting ready to take all this food assists and shit away. It says for all the good her food bank does, it says she said the Federal Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, also known as food stamps, is crucial. For every one meal that a food bank provides, the SNAP program provides 9. She said, but SNAP's large size and budget make it a prime target for cuts. You see, look at all these people lined up, man. You know, the first Trump administration tried to tighten work requirements and to limit who qualifies for SNAP. It estimated the measure would save more than $7 billion over time and end benefits for more than 3 million people. You see, but now he's finna get ready to He's finna get ready to do things even worse. You know? So it's finna get bad, man. You know? I ain't gonna read that whole article, but you can go ahead if you want to read it. You can go, I'm saying, you can go touch on it. You know? But hey, it just goes to show you that things finna get a lot worse, man. Things finna get ready to turn up. The Heavenly Father's finna get ready to send more plagues on this place. So with that, man, I'm gonna go ahead and give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shah, by Hashem, Rakakadash, double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.